Using a pendulum. Back when I was a young autistic man in service of God, I wanted to hear God's voice like my peers did. I was told that because of my autism, it was pretty certain that I would never have access to that kind of sensitivity. But I was able to create a mechanism through which God could communicate with me. It wasn't much, just a simple pendulum. It would give me one of three responses to help me on my path of servitude. If it swayed this way, it was yes. If it swung that way, it was no. And if it whizzed around in a circle, it meant, run, David, run! As simple as it was, that pendulum saved my bacon plenty of times and opened my eyes to looking into other ways of expanding my ability to live my life in an intuitive manner by studying other contemporary modalities such as applied kinesiology, hypnosis, and neurolinguistic programming. Whether I was in ministerial or therapeutic environments, the skills I gained from these methodologies were vastly helpful in my maintaining high energy performance and results. The gift I'd like to share with you today is that which is referred to in applied kinesiology as a dowsing pendulum. There are many types of dowsing pendulums, and they are used in a variety of methods from psychic readings to alternative healing practices, and they can be extremely fancy. Now you can go get yourself a fancy one if you like, but I'm going to show you how to use a rudimentary pendulum, which is every bit as effective as a fancy one in giving you that little intuitive edge if you're lacking in that area, like I was. Now we all know that we are surrounded by energy, and the energy which is all around us runs through every cell of our bodies, as well as everything that is both seen and unseen. All around us is infinite intelligence. When I was young, I used a simple method to allow God to communicate with me, even in its most rudimentary form. All you need is a weighted string to make a working version of a dowsing pendulum, which can give you access to the vast energetic part of our universe, which is all around us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never closes or goes on vacation. And if you have a tool like this, you don't need anything else. If you're lacking in the basic psychic energy or intuition that other people have, like I was. My first dowsing pendulum was a nut tied to a piece of thread, like a nut and a bolt nut. So I looked around the house to see what I could find to make a pendulum out of quickly, just as a demonstration for you, and I found this. An inexpensive party favor from a child's party, a yo-yo. Now, a real yo-yo might be better because it has more weight to it, but both are weights suspended from a string. So for this little experiment, you'll be able to see that just about anything will work. Okay, you see I've got the yo-yo, and I'm going to let it dangle about 12 inches from where I'm pinching the string between my thumb and my forefinger. For simplicity, I've marked out on this piece of paper, this way means yes, and that way means no. And as I stated before, round and round means run, David, run. First, still your pendulum in the center point. Then ask it a question like, is my name David? See? It's saying yes. Next I will ask, am I a girl? And it says no. I bet some of you are wondering about that. You never can be sure these days. Now that's the end of my little demonstration. Now it's up to you to put this magic to the test. And here's where you have to be careful. While this looks like a harmless child's toy, this is a powerful tool to accessing knowledge which is not limited to the 3D environment where we, well, most of us anyway, primarily reside. You will probably learn, as I did, that there are some answers that you're better off not knowing, so don't even ask. And other questions you might get the answers to, and a wise person knows when to keep some of those answers to yourself. I also believe that everyone has a right to privacy. You never have anything to prove to anyone. And in some cases, No one would believe the truth if you told them. So just let it go. But if you're like me, I don't even ask those questions anymore. When I use the pendulum, I only use it for myself as my little communication tool between me and God about things which pertain to me only. I don't have all that time to go into anyone else's business, but my own busyness is already enough to keep me busy. Questions I get about the pendulum? What about this way and that way? Does the first way depict north and south? The answer is none of that really matters. You create the parameters that you want the energy to communicate with you through. So you can have those directions totally switched, where sideways means yes and forward and backward means no. Round and round means I don't want to answer right now. You can have it represent anything you want. For me, it's run, David, run. The infinite is vastly concerned with you and me, every one of us, and it wants to communicate with us. Infinite intelligence has a standard communication method with most people who get a feeling. They get a feeling that they should call someone, and if they respect this knowingness, they do. And if they do not, they simply push that thought aside and find out later that they should have made the call. Can you use a pendulum for more than just a yes or no device? Yes. You can use it for anything if you know how. And if you study applied kinesiology, you'll discover that you can use it to find out anything. But the secret in establishing accuracy is two-part. Number one is being a clean vessel, free from judgment or prejudice. And secondly, if not more importantly, asking the right question or being certain not to stop asking questions when more pertinent information remains unqueried. This is stuff you'll have to figure out on your own if you want to. There's plenty of information out there. Can this simple pendulum be used as a chakra pendulum? The answer is yes. Eastern practitioners have used pendulums for years in therapeutic, spiritual, and metaphysical practices. And these practices, including the recognition and manipulation of chakras, is melding with many Western practices. Granted, chakra practitioners have advanced the use of the pendulum so far and have perfected the science surrounding geology, gems, and semi-precious stones, all serving different purposes in diagnosing, treating, and infusing and tuning all the chakras. But this simple pendulum, as any pendulum, can be completely effective in determining the direction any chakra is moving in, which is part of the process. Speaking of pendulum science, it has risen to astronomical proportions. Different substances are used in different ways in different practices and methodologies. You can spend anywhere from $20 to $200 or more for a professional pendulum. And I've seen all of them serve so many different purposes. Just be forewarned that the tools of any trade can be quite expensive. But sometimes the tried and true basic handmade tools are the best. And sometimes not, depending on the application. Do I use a dowsing pendulum in therapeutic practice? I do not. But I know many people who use it religiously. And Shersha, a friend of mine, uses hers all the time for everything. So basically, it's up to you. Use it in any way that suits you best. And if you start to get freaked out about getting into other people's business, well, don't say I didn't warn you. You can always back up and just start using it for yourself only. Isn't this just make-believe? Really? Okay. If you think it's ridiculous, then don't do this. Kinesiologists have been using this practice for optimizing the performance of the human body for years. When metaphysicians got a hold of the technology, well, it just went off the charts. And the woo-woo folks took to it like fish to water. The metaphysical version, which I've demonstrated to you today, is called applied kinesiology, which goes far beyond the use of a dowsing pendulum. While the original, strictly human body science form is known simply as kinesiology, many people do not believe in applied kinesiology and reject it. No problem. In fact, the government would rather you didn't believe in it, but they do. They continue to spend millions of dollars every year using applied kinesiology and have many specialists on the payroll for all kinds of purposes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go to the dark side. I'm not defending applied kinesiology in any way. If you can use it as a tool and it gives you benefit as it did me, then great. If you think it's just silliness, then that's fine too. You're absolutely right. And I will defend your right to feel that way 100%. My name is David M. Masters. If you want to find out more about pendulums or applied kinesiology, you can check in with my friends at St. Paul's Free University, or you can give me a holla at davidmmasters.com. Keep on swinging, my friends. Catch you later.